Naapa kwamba nitakuwa mwaminifu kwa Jamhuri ya Kenya na kuitumikia kwa moyo wangu wote, na kwamba nitahifadhi, nitalinda na kuitetea katiba ya Kenya kwa mujibu wa sheria iliyowekwa. Ewe Mwenyezi Mungu nisaidie.
Moi was a very good leader.
I say he was charismatic.
A very firm president.
Exquisite.
Longest serving president of Kenya.
He has the good and the bad side of his ruling.
He's gone, but people are still afraid of talking about the things that he might have done that were not right.
He was a dictator.
The passing on of the second president of the Republic of Kenya, Daniel Toroitich Arap Moi, has sparked the deeply buried conversations about his tenure with both his friends, foes, those who worked under him, as well as victims of his rule coming out to speak.
I grew up in Moi's era. I matured in Moi's era, and the 1997 clashes are things that happened when I was maturing up as a young man.
I knew him as the head of KANU as a party then that was ruling, and he was a very firm president when it comes to decision making. He's one guy that would fire you if you brought mchezo kwa kazi.
He went all around the country. He would visit different areas, doing projects, launching projects, meeting people, interacting with people, especially kids.
We used to go by the roadside, then he would pass, so I would see him wave his fimbo.
One say that we knew him for was siasa mbaya maisha mbaya.
He worked towards making sure that we had peace in our nation.
The maziwa ya Nyayo made many people to go to school because it was an incentive to the kids, the pupils at that time.
There was a lot of discipline in the Moi era, especially when it came to leaders.
Moi, in a way, had patriotic thoughts about the country because you'll remember in the 80s there was what was called SAP, the Structural Adjustment Programs. He tried implementing them, they didn't work, and he told the Europeans to their face that IMF and the World Bank that this thing is not working. He tried to show that Africa is much more bigger than narrow-minded programs.
I really admired his leadership, especially on matters religion. He was not afraid to show what he stands for. President
Moi was a churchgoer. Possibly, maybe that is one of the things we should think about seriously, religion. I can't say he was a family man because, we didn't know much about his family. But from our perspective as young people growing in the country, we realized there was so much negative that was happening and all was being blamed on Moi. Whether right or wrong, we cannot for sure tell, but there are things that we saw and heard that really we thought could have been done differently.
The young people, including the so-called millennials who never lived to know him during his time in power, have found themselves engulfed in this clutter, and it cannot be denied that they are now part and parcel of this discourse.
I might have been there, but I was way too young. So I really couldn't tell how he ruled the country.
Moi's leadership style contributed greatly to the current state of affairs in the country today.
The way our nation is, the way it's being led today, is all because of what he did.
I know he's made some decisions that have run down our economy as it is as at now. You know, just by the fact that he was perceived to be tyrannical. You know, political imprisoning people that spoke against his government. If you criticize the government, you are most likely to be charged and all that. And so for things like that, I think he did not cultivate a good seed as far as free thinking, free speech is concerned. Because of that fear, up to now, you can see a lot of political, social injustices, economic crimes being committed by the political elite. But Kenyans are not speaking out. Or if they speak, they're speaking on Twitter. We lost that courage during Moi's time because we were so traumatized. And if anyone who had courage paid for having that courage, there are a lot of examples you can give. The likes of Titus Adungosi, Muruli, those university students who were killed. He's definitely gotten us where we are being the second president of the country. We lost something in Moi's time and we have not regained it
even through Kibaki's time, through Uhuru's time, we have not regained that courage to say no to injustice.
Of course, young people have been affected. If the economy is terrible right now, it's because of some of the choices that he made, including the guy who's ruling the country right now. You know, he was handpicked by Moi. So if at all we are suffering the decisions or the choices of Moi at this particular time, if young people are suffering with the current leaders, is because the earlier leaders appointed them.
Like 70% of the people that we are having in leadership today, they have been mentored by Moi.
There's a Swahili saying that amani haiji la kuanzia upanga.
He wanted to live a united nation, a united Kenya. And I think that is what we are enjoying today.
Today in the country we have a lot of schools called Moi Girls, and I believe we played a major role in the infrastructural development in our education system.
He entrenched in cronyism. But for you to entrench cronyism, you need to think about your friends more than any other person. And I think that is what Moi did. He thought about his friends more, only that he thought about them and used them to run down a country.
I think we enjoyed a longer reign of peace.
And we saw after Moi left, we had, you know, post-election violences here and there, chaos here and there.
As a well-dressed man, he set a good example.
He done a lot of things that I believe as young people and even young leaders in the community should learn from him.
One thing I have to give it up to Moi is that he stepped down. He allowed the transition between him and Kibaki to be so, you know, peaceful. And maybe we could borrow that, because every other time there's elections in this country, it's always disputes after disputes after disputes.
It is important for the young people to embrace the good side of him.
The leadership and the Christian values that he carried as a person.
If our leaders could just stop being rowdy, very indisciplined, you know, they just need to know how to even talk to people and how to relate to the president and all that.
Don't be greedy with power. Ukichengwa kubali, kaa chini.
By embracing dialogue, we will have a peaceful nation.
They should read. When you are thinking, your mind gets creative. Creativity liberates a country.
You don't have to follow other people's path just because they appointed you. Just chat your part. You know, what is it that you want to give the Mwananchi? Everybody's vilifying him, you know. He had a lot of time to do right. He had a lot of time to decide legacy yake itakuwa nini. But he chose this. As much as some people think that he doesn't deserve it, but he chose this. So you as a future leader, what are you choosing for yourself? Unataka watu kukumbuke na nini when it will be all said and done?
As he is laid to rest, marking the end of his life, the question remains, what next? Is the legacy he leaves worth celebrating, or is it a curse?
As much as the late President Moi did a lot in terms of encouraging girls to go to school and building a lot of girls' schools and actually naming them after himself, starting conservation programs through building gabions and all that. That culture of silence did a lot of harm than good.
Kila mtu akona makosa zake, and some of those people that suffered whatever Moi did to them have already forgiven. They just never forgot.
There are things he did that were right. There are things that he did that are affecting us up to date.
But the things that he did that impacted positively to our lives, we will forever remain to remember them.
Let's mourn him. It's not for us to judge, but we still also need to fall back to history and learn where we went wrong, where the rain started beating us, and correct.
We remember him as a very firm president who got Kenya to where it is today.
He was a great guy.
Kama yuko mtu ametukana mimi namsamehe. Na kama yuko mtu ambaye nimesema chochote ambaye kimeumiza roho yake unisamehe.
The future of a nation lies in the hands of those who learn from the past, act on the present, and foresee the future. With our history as a nation defined through past regimes, Moi's reign and its effects are still felt to date. However, the responsibility to shape the future is a burden we carry, all factors withstanding.